Today we will start with the norma occipitalis. When the skull is viewed from behind, this view is known as the norma occipitalis, which can be seen in this norma occipitalis view are parietal bones, squamous part of the occipital bone, and the mastoid part of the temporal bone. Where the sagittal suture meets with the lambdoid suture, that area is known as the lambda. At the lower end of the lambdoid suture, the three bones meet. Here you can see this is the parietal bone, this is the occipital bone, and this is the temporal bone. So the meeting area here is known as the asterion. The sutures which can be seen in the norma occipitalis are the posterior part of the sagittal suture, lambdoid suture, occipitomastoid suture, and parietomastoid suture. Midway between the lambda and the foramen magnum, one median elevation is present. This elevation is known as the external occipital protuberance. The most projecting point of the external occipital protuberance is known as the inion. From the external occipital protuberance, bilaterally two lines extend. These lines are known as the superior knuckle lines. Here, these are two superior knuckle lines. These lines form the boundary between the scalp and the neck. The superior knuckle lines gives attachment entirely to the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Its medial part here provides origin to the trapezius muscle, and the lateral part receives the insertion of posterior fibers of the sternocleidomastoid muscle and beneath that of the splenius capitis muscle. From the external occipital protuberance to the foramen magnum, here one median ridge is present, which is known as the external occipital crest. It gives attachment to the ligamentum nuchae. From the midpoint of the external occipital crest, another line extends bilaterally, which is known as the inferior knuckle line. Just above the superior knuckle lines, another line extends bilaterally. Here you can see these lines are known as the highest knuckle lines. The highest knuckle lines gives attachment medially to the glaya aponeurotica of the scalp and laterally to the occipital belly of the occipitofrontalis muscle.